Hello, good people. Come on in. Come on in the room. Yeah. Come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor, and he writes out all of my scriptures, gives me all my medicine in my room. All right, let's see if y'all can hear me. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Those on the clock app, can you hear me? Those on the YouTube, can you hear me? You're in the room. Greetings. I hope everybody's doing well today. For those who are going to watch this later, I'm also streaming on YouTube. Okay. I agree with this title. Today, I decided to get on this afternoon and have some conversation and talk about some things that has come up. Um, Actually, a great deal of this came up in our live that we did yesterday. But today is a Divine Mission 9 day. And so, since it's that, I thought I'd teach a wonderful lesson of the nine as a nine soul nature myself. I want you to know that I am Darcel Andre. I am an Afro numerologist. I am a clairvoyant. I am a hoodoo practitioner. I'm your sacred somebody. Okay, this is it. All right. And I'm gonna get you together. All right. And I'm getting myself together in the process. You know that if you want to book me, have a session with me, I have a session actually this evening with the client that just booked through my new website. Okay, darcelandre.com. You can do that and get your things. Okay, you can do that and get your things. So, what I want to talk about first is make sure y'all like and then y'all share um, the live if you can. And if you cannot, actually, you can. So, that's not even an option. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the number nine. Number nine is the number of the elder. This particularly pertains to people if they are turning, let me see, if you're 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81. If any of those birthdays belong to you, or if you're born in September, if you're born on the 9th, on the 18th, on the 27th, or if you, yeah, we're just gonna say that because everything else is it's a little bit difficult to explain. If your birth year, if you add up your birth year, all the digits in your birth year, and it comes up to a nine, this number nine is connected to you. And if you add up your full birthday period and it comes to a nine, this number is connected to you. Anyways, so the number nine is the elder. Okay. If I could describe it in one sentence, I would say that nine is the spirit that understands. Okay? Nine is the spirit that understands. Nine is the oldest of the single digit numbers. It has walked through the lessons of the one, the relationship of the two, the voice of the three, the structure, the routine and stability of the four, the freedom and recklessness of the five, the nurturing, the responsibilities, the care of the six, the mysticism of the seven, the power of the eight, and now we're here at the nine. So the nine has seen a bit of everything. And that is why the nine carries an ability to understand people. Nine has the ability to see the wound that is beneath the behavior. Okay? It's the wound that's beneath the behaviors. It's the fear that is at the bottom or in the belly of the anger. Hey, everybody. It's the loneliness that's at the belly of the arrogance, the grief that is underneath the addiction. This is what the 9 sees. So the 9 don't just look at people. The 9 looks at what has happened to you. And that's a great gift of a 9. But that is also the greatest danger of the 9. Hey, Gabby. Peace. I just have my Cash App up there, y'all, in case y'all want to just say, you know what, good black brother, you did a good job today. That's the only reason why it's up there. Okay. I'm not doing readings right now. Oh, I gave you a reading a couple years ago, Gabby. Really? Come on, Gabby, with the history. Gabby came in with the Carfax. And Gabby, was there a lie told in that reading a couple years ago? Thank you for the roses. You said absolutely not. Thank you. Appreciate you. Glad to see you. I'm glad that the algorithm lets you see me again, because child, you know how they do. So yes, understanding people. And so because I am a number 9, soul nature, I can talk about this. And I know this is true. Hear me when I tell y'all this. This is a lesson that is birthed from today, because today is a Divine Mission 9 day. Stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. The time has come for you to start doubting the benefits. Did y'all hear that? Stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. The time has come to start doubting the benefits. That's where we're at now. Okay? 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 Stop it. We were taught a lie that's wrapped in some weird respectability politics. That is, give people the benefit of the doubt. Just give them the benefit of the doubt. And while that sounds mature and that sounds so compassionate and spiritual and evolved, I want to ask a different question today. What happens when you've been giving somebody the benefit of the doubt for 5 years? What happens when you've been giving somebody the benefit of the doubt for 10 years? For 20 years? At what point do we stop giving people the benefit of the doubt and start doubting the benefits? Because I think we have become, y'all, so committed to understanding people. Understand. I want to understand. I need to understand. And you know, honey, y'all get real spiritual. I want to understand, overstand. All that. People that we have forgotten to evaluate what is the actual impact. That's a lesson here of the 9 today. Because that's where suffering begins. When you're too busy trying to understand and you're not looking at the impact, that's where suffering begins. The 9 knows how to understand a motherfucker to death. We understand everybody. We understand their childhood. We understand their trauma. Oh, their insecurities. Oh, they have fears related to that. Their pain. We understand their abandonment. Excuse me. We understand their grief. We understand their struggles. We just understand every goddamn thing. What is the benefit to you from understanding? That's what we're talking about today. What is the benefit? What understanding somebody and benefiting from them? That's not the same thing. Okay? I have been someone that has been addicted to understanding a motherfucker. I just be getting it. I understand this, that, this. Well, they're only doing that because, their mother taught them how to be disconnected. And they grew up in this environment, so they have to shield themselves and hide their feelings or cover. And start down the benefits. So in this, as we're working through this, I want to define some things. Understanding will answer why. Why they do it. Why they are acting this way. Why they are struggling. Why do they keep making the same mistakes? And understanding is very important. Okay? But understanding is incomplete. Because understanding is just cerebral. Come on, Kiara. Kiara said, I understand, but also understand I don't like how this makes me feel, and that is more important, period. Discernment asks, now what? Now that you understand it, what are you supposed to do with this information? Do you trust them now? Do you continue the relationship? Do you create distance between you? Do you establish a boundary? Do you move differently? Hi, Mariposa. Understanding explains the behavior. Discernment evaluates the behavior. And many other people get stuck in understanding that they don't ever graduate to discernment. You stay stuck in a vibe and an energy and a mindset of you just gathering reasons. More reasons, more explanations, more context, more excuses. I miss you. I miss you back. I'm here, child. Here. Greetings. Hello. You said, "Oh my God, I just made a post about stop giving people the benefit of the doubt and doubt what the benefits and doubt what benefits the people." Period. Guess what we are? We're in alignment. You're in alignment with this 9 days, Sammy. Period. So we just stay gathering reasons. What is the purpose of us gathering all of these reasons and ignoring the pattern? What's the purpose? No, Nine. I'm not. Hey, Nine. I'm just doing. We're just talking today. I'm not doing any readings. I just got my Cash App in case somebody feels blessed by the message, and they're just like, you know what, you did good today. So, what's the point? As I said, you got all these reasons, but you're not. What are you doing with that information, right? Understanding the discernment. You can understand, but you must move from understanding to discerning. There's another trap, y'all. Good to see you. There's another trap that sits it's the difference between understanding, hey, greetings, understanding and trust. And this is also where the people get trapped. Understanding someone doesn't necessarily mean trusting someone. It doesn't. I can understand why somebody lies. That don't mean that I trust them. I can understand why somebody cheats. That don't mean I trust them. I understand why somebody can manipulate somebody, right? Understanding does not equal access. And even in all of that, another trap is you start to shift and bend, and especially if you're somebody who was born in May, or if you're born on the 5th, on the 14th, or the 23rd, especially if you're one of those folks and you have that, or your divine mission number is a 5. When you add your birthday year, your birth year up, it comes to a 5. You start to become so adaptable. You said, oh, they can't. I understand why they cheat. So now let me start to morph and become the thing that's going to make them not cheat. Okay, stop it. You see that somebody's emotional unavailable. It's not your job to get your mission to make them emotionally available. Understanding and trust are not the same thing. One is information. The other, as I said, is access. Just because you understand somebody don't mean you got to give them access. Understanding just going to explain it. Trust grants them permission. You can understand why a snake is a snake, but that don't mean that you finna put your hand near the snake's mouth. Right? Got to be clear. Okay, this emoji, Gloria. Oh yeah, 9. Yeah, y'all got to be careful, especially if you got them 5 somewhere. You again, May, if you're born in May, or you're born on the 5th, or the 14th or the 23rd, or if you're 32, if you're 41, if you're 50, you got to be careful. Okay. So we must understand this. I want to also say that another trap of understanding is that we're just so stuck on studying what the story is that we forget the impact. Stop studying the story and start studying the impact. You compassionate people just so obsessed with the story. Why they hurt people? Who hurt them? What made them act that way? Why they do it? Who showed them that? But you're asking all those questions about them, but you're not asking how it's impacting you. How did I feel after hanging out with them? How do I feel after every conversation? How do I feel after spending time with them? Do I feel respected? Do I feel supported? Do I feel valued? Do I feel seen? Do I feel drained? Do I feel confused? Manipulated? Do I feel like I feel responsible for a grown adult? When you start to study the impact as opposed to studying the story, you will actually see the truth. Because if you have done a little bit of work on yourself, you know that when you start evaluating some of the stories you've been telling yourself, you be dead ass wrong. Your perspective and what you thought you knew, you'll be wrong as hell. You do. You'll be wrong as hell. When you start to study the story you have been telling, you listen to that story and you're like, from a heel state, like, now why was I telling that like that? So guess what? That same thing is for other people. And most people are not doing the work out here. Hold on. Most people out here are not doing the work. All right. So the stories that they be trying to tell y'all, and y'all so wrapped up on the story, you can't. Because it's probably, I'm not going to say it's not true. I'm going to say it's not accurate. All right. But when we look at the impact, what actually matters, that's where the truth is going to be at. So I say start doubting the benefits. You've been giving motherfuckers the benefit of doubt for 15, 25, 36 years. Okay? When the pattern presents itself, stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. There's a difference between a mistake and a choice. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. A choice is a deliberate decision between options. I chose to take a different job. A mistake is an act or a judgment or decision that turns out to be wrong because of a misunderstanding or a lack of information. I accidentally sent the email to the wrong person. Choice is about intent. A mistake is about correctness, just being correct. Okay? So, is this a pattern of mistakes? Or is this a pattern of choices? These grown motherfuckers making choices. Okay? We know because the explanation keeps changing, but the outcome stays the same. Every conversation you have with them requires your understanding, but never theirs. You always need to understand them. You just can't never seem to get it. But they don't never have to understand how they affected you. And you get to a point with the individual that is unhealthy for you that they expect your understanding. They expect your forgiveness. Doubt the benefits. When you lay down a boundary, and that creates outrage. Doubt the benefits. When they love what you do more than who you are. That's a word on its own. Some people love you for what you do and not for who you are. They love you for what you provide. They love your advice. They love your support. They love the access to you. They love the comfort of you. But the moment you stop fixing and stop giving and stop performing, all the affection disappears. Stop measuring people. When you test, the test of love is not how people treat you when you're useful. The test of love is how they treat you when you don't have anything to offer. Hey, Larry, thank you. The devil tried to kill me. I killed him first. Devil tried to kill me. I killed him first. Devil tried to kill me. I killed him first. Don't let me not let Koji get a hold of that song. I killed him first. I killed him first. I killed him first. I killed him first. Okay? That's the test of love. Not how people treat it. It's not how people treat you when you're useful. It's how they treat you when they have nothing. You have nothing to offer but your presence, but you just being there. Okay? So, start doubting the benefits. When you are the one that's constantly explaining away behavior you would never accept for someone you love. Doubt the benefits. Got to doubt the benefits. Okay? Stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. We doubt the benefits in 2026. Okay? Here's the thing. People are loyal to your access. They're not loyal to you. They're loyal to your availability, to your forgiveness, to your understanding, to your generosity. They're loyal to your access. Remove the access, remove the availability, remove the constant forgiveness, remove that emotional labor, and then I want you to watch what happens. Okay? So I'm not telling y'all that you need to become these stone cold Steve Austin motherfuckers, and just become all this. No. I'm not telling you that you need to stop loving people. I'm not telling you to stop being compassionate. What I am telling you is to stop using your compassion as a replacement for your discernment. You can understand someone and still leave. You can love someone and still create distance. You can pray for someone and still have boundaries, baby. You can wish them well and close the door. Okay? Peace, Queenie Jones. Peace. Wisdom. Wisdom asks, now that I know who they are, what am I going to do with that information? Dare I say, y'all don't need more reasons. You need more standards. Yes. Mm-hmm. And also, let me go ahead and put my cowrie shells just a little bit deeper into your head. Sometimes understanding someone is a way of avoiding grief. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I keep analyzing why they left, then I don't have to feel the fact that they're gone. If I keep studying their behavior, I don't have to mourn what happened. At that point, understanding becomes a distraction from the heartbreak. Here's another chilling truth. Sometimes understanding someone is bargaining with reality. Like, if I can just figure them out, then maybe the outcome will change. But the outcome has already happened, niece. The outcome has already happened. The relationship has ended. The betrayal has occurred. The trust has been broken. The person has left. Understanding becomes, at that point, an attempt to argue with reality. And when you argue with reality, that's where you start to suffer. Gloria said, take your foot off my neck, please. Okay? Here's another truth for all our control freaks. Understanding someone is sometimes a refusal to accept what they chose, because acceptance hurts. Period. Okay? And it's painful to admit that they knew what they were doing. It's painful to admit that they understood the impact and that they made that choice anyway. We tend to search for deeper explanations because the obvious explanation is sometimes too much. We can't take it. We can't take that. Thank you so much for the gifts. Here's another thing. Twos do this a lot. February, born in February, if you're born on the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, the 29th, or November. Sometimes we study their wounds because we're afraid to study ours. It is easier for us to become an expert on their trauma than it is to turn and ask, why did I stay? Why did I tolerate that? Why did I need their approval? Right? Uh-huh. Why was I afraid to leave? And as I said, for the control freaks, understanding is a form of control. Because let me go ahead and gag you right now. Many people think that you think that you're being compassionate, especially for you 8s out there and 4s. If you're born in April or on the 4th or the 13th or the 22nd or the 31st, or if you're born in August or on the 8th or the 17th or the 26th. You acting like you being compassionate, but secretly you're like, if I can understand them enough, I can predict them. And if I could predict them, then I can protect myself. And if I can protect myself, then I'll never be hurt again. Baby, that's a strategy. That's a strategy. Okay? You trying to understand a motherfucker so much. At this point, it becomes surveillance. It becomes justification. You are managing and predicting instead of just acknowledging it for what it is. Let me give you a real story about me. I, Darcel Andre, who I have 2 8s in my sacred count, was in connection with somebody that was horrible. Just not healthy. Not just a baby, emotionally turbulent individual. And oh, thank you, Sierra. I appreciate you. I was in connection with someone that was just emotionally turbulent. He just was not it. But I kept excusing and understanding and enduring. You ready for the manipulation? So that when it came down to it, you would have done so much wrong to me that you would have to choose me. Look at all that I have been through. I've been there for you. I took you in. I was still there for you even when you was at your worst. So then you would have to choose me. Because now you owe me. A spirit of manipulation. And guess what? The nigga still didn't choose me. So who was Boo Boo the fool? Ha ha ha. Okay. It's just it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Yeah. Y'all, why they do it? They did it. That's it. Move on. So you got to be you said are you saying Life Path 9 people? Is that what you're saying? Bowie? Cut cue to Looney Tunes. Absolutely. Yes, that's what I was talking about. Anyone with a 9 a little bit. Well, this is what this full conversation is about. Mm-hmm. Y'all 9 with those with that divine mission 9. In my system, I call it the divine mission. 9, y'all's greatest gift is seeing the humanity in people. That's what we're talking about. But can't be delusional. The greatest challenge is seeing the humanity in people. Okay? 9 tend to attract the people that need the healing and the rescue and the guidance and the second chance. And thus they spend years understanding someone for something they did instead of just accepting that they simply did it. You know, and I also think because nines have a unusual relationship with endings too, so they know when things are over long before it even happens. But it's the letting it go part that's the problem. Okay. Um it's the plot. But I think one of the most terrifying possibilities is that what if you already understand them? What if you're still the reason you're still searching is not because you lack of understanding. What if it's because you just don't like the answer? The answer is they weren't ready. The answer is they did not choose you. The answer is they were selfish. The answer is they were inconsistent. They lacked integrity. They couldn't give you what you needed. Sometimes it's just where they are. I think that the people don't need more understanding. I think that people need more acceptance. Understanding keeps the conversation going. Acceptance is going to end that hoe. Understanding is like, well, why? Acceptance says, I don't give a why. This is what happened, regardless of why. There's a wisdom here when we must learn and recognize when understanding has given us everything that it's going to give us. It's time for us to feel it, to grieve it, and accept it, and then move forward. Hmm. This is why in Afro numerology, in the number system, we look at the year that you were born. Because sometimes some of the stuff we be windmilling is an ancestral and a bloodline thing. And why it's harder for you, it's a greater challenge because you not only just doing it because you were silly, you doing it because your aunt, your great aunt, your great grandpa, your your great cousin, not your great cousin, but this is just a pattern in the lineage, and we have to course correct it. So yes, we're not gonna sit up here and continue to give people the benefit of the doubt. We are gonna start giving, excuse me, doubting the benefits. That's really all I wanted to talk about. Y'all want to ask some questions? We're gonna turn this to an Ask Darcel session. You know, I'm in these Afro numerology streets. I'm in these hoodoo streets. I'm in this anti-misogyny, anti-patriarchy streets. Okay. I'm in these LGBTQ streets. You're welcome. Y'all want to ask a question about anything? Oh, I'm back. Excuse me. They tried to take me down, YouTube. Yeah. Sometimes you don't need to do that. You just need to change your behavior. What we can do for sure with our numbers, okay, honey, in the alphanumerology system here, add up the year that you were born. Whatever year you were born. French Vanilla Diva. Okay. One. Mariposa, what's yours? Two. I see six. Got it. I'm gonna give y'all some quick framework. If when you add up your birth, the birth, excuse me, the year that you were born, and whatever it reduces down to. If you have a one, you have a bloodline that of survival of ancestors who said, I have to do it myself. Okay. That unfortunately brings up an energy of isolation and hyper independence and a refusal to receive help. The course correction for that's a changed behavior and that will interrupt that ancestral pattern is to learn interdependence. The strength is not in doing everything alone. By learning interdependence, you course correct the energy of that ancestral current. If you have a two, you have a bloodline of peacekeeping. You inherited the belief that you got to keep everybody happy. People pleasing, avoiding conflict, self-abandonment. Part of the way you course correct that is learning healthy confrontation. Peace and quiet is not the same thing. I say that relentlessly. Yeah, black walnut. Black walnut, use that for a deep cleansing, uncrossing bath. You could even use that in a cord cutting space. That is to remove toxic attachments. So I've not done one specifically, but I know that that's what it does. I have given clients things to give. I already know yours is 9. Yeah. 19, both eights. Yeah. So if you have a 3, for example, you got a bloodline full of untold stories. Inherited belief of don't say much, hush. And of course, that shadow of avoidance, of covering up your pain, and a fear of expressing yourself. You course correct that by speaking the truth. If you have a 4, you have a bloodline of duty, Ancestors who believe work first, feel later, child. We could get the emotions and the joy and all that stuff after the bills are paid. And the shadow of that is being so damn rigid and overworking and suppressing all your emotions. And you, of course, correct that by creating flexibility in your life, by choosing to be a flexible person. Because you are more than your labor. If you have a 5 there, you have a bloodline of movement. Ancestors that inherited a belief. Oh, keep moving, excuse me. Keep moving. That creates a shadow of restlessness. Yeah, you would add up that for a birthday. Okay? So a part of the course correction for those with the 5 is to develop roots. Ground yourself somewhere. Freedom without direction is wandering. You need direction. You can be free, but you still got to get clear about where you're going and what you're doing. Okay? If you have a 6, you got to answer. You have a bloodline of caretaking, where you think you got to take care of everybody. That creates the martyr. That creates the dry titty mother, honey. People sucking you dry. That creates resentment. Yeah, care is not meant to be one way. If you got a 7, you got a honey, you got a bloodline of secrets. That's isolation. That's emotional distance. That's distrust. Right? So you need to practice vulnerability to course correct that energy. If you have a bloodline of 8, you got a bloodline full of power. Power, both having power and misusing power, and being oppressed or affected by powers. So you believe that control keeps you safe. That's what you inherited from your people. And so you end up being controlling, domineering, carrying too much responsibility. And so you course correct that energy by practicing trust and delegation. I don't have to do all of this. Let me let you do this. Let me not take on all that stress and all that burden. You course correct it. Because again, power is about what you can do. Control is about you trying to make other people do. More power, less control. And if you got a 9 current, you got a current full of, you got a bloodline of sacrifice. Burden carriers. Thus the shadow of that is over sacrifice, is rescuing that endless understanding that we talked about earlier. And so you course correct by practicing discernment and release. Everything is not yours to save. Right? So that's a way. No problem. But you can see how they converge, right? How that has been a thing in y'all's relationship. I'll tell you, once you get your numbers, child, you are unstoppable. Any tips for self-love, self-confidence while having experienced grief from physical losses? That's good. That's definitely an energy of 9. Yeah. Well, first, I think this is where the 9 works. how do I want to answer this? Grief doesn't damage confidence. Grief damages trust. You stop trusting life. You stop trusting people. You stop trusting your judgment. You stop trusting your ability to recover. The confidence, before the confidence comes back, we got to restore the trust. Let's change the thought. Okay. Instead of how do I become confident again? What did this loss make me stop believing about myself? Because the grief leaves a story. Maybe the story is that you believe you can't trust yourself, or or everybody leaves me, or I'll never recover, or I should have known better, or I can't survive another loss. The loss hurts enough. The story that you make up around the loss hurts longer. Okay? So let's fix that story. Okay? I will also say that confidence does not come from you being positive. Confidence comes from evidence. And grief has a way of making you forget the evidence. So, what I want you to do is ask yourself, what have I survived before? What losses have I already lived through? What did I learn from them? What strengths did I discover? What did I build after previous endings? So find the evidence and you'll find the confidence. Okay, 9. I hope that helped. Hey, Sabrina, peace to you, dear. I'm trying to learn more about numerology breakdown in space life. Yes, Mariposa. If you go to the link in my bio, it'll take you to darcelandre.com. And I have something on there called one. That's where you also can book a numerology. So if you really want to get into the things, we could have a session and we could go over it. But there is something on my website called The Vault. And The Vault has a personal year calculator, personal month calculator in it, and also a breakdown of all of the numbers, 1 through master number 33. Also on the home page, I have a sacred count calculator on there. So I would suggest you get the Vault, and once you get it, it's $15. But you have permanent access to it, and anything else I update and add to it, you constantly have access. And I'm gonna be adding stuff to that, like the more as I live and learn and grow. But that way you can always log in, honey, and you see a number, you want to understand it, you could read and study all about it. Okay, and it ain't like just 2-3 sentences. It's a whole thing about the different expressions of that number. Okay. Yeah, your life path number, your divine mission number, which is what I call it, your divine mission number, is found by adding your month plus your day plus the year that you're born. And whatever that reduces down to. Mm-hmm. What other questions do we got? I think, let me see if I missed some on here. Come on, I got time. I got time before my client. Kiara says, how do you get yourself to believe that you are worthy of love? Let me say, I think that might be a misconception that you just revealed. Because I think people spend years trying to feel worthy first, but I think that worthiness isn't usually a feeling. I think it's a decision. I think the question that is beneath that question, Kiara, is what proof do I have that I'm worthy of love? And that's the real trap, because if your worthiness depends on proof, then you're going to just have a whole life of collecting that evidence. If someone chooses me, then I'm worthy, right? If someone stays, then I'm worthy. If someone compliments me, then I'm worthy. If someone desires me, then I'm worthy. But then the moment that disappears, then your worth disappears. And so I think what we need to explore is who taught us that love had to be earned. Because most people are not born believing they're unworthy. You learn it. Was love attached to your performance? Right? Was love attached to your obedience? Was love attached to your achievement? Maybe love was attached to being useful. Or maybe it was attached to being needed. Somewhere along the way, love stopped feeling like something you just deserved, and it started feeling like something that you had to earn, or you had to qualify for. And I think that if you have grown up in this world underneath deep religious theology, I think that we believe that in order for us to receive love, it requires suffering. And I think suffering feels familiar to us. I feel like over functioning feels familiar. Chasing after something is familiar, right? Proving is familiar. Earning is familiar. And then when love arrives without any of those conditions, now we feel suspicious. Now we start doubting, right? And I really do think this is timely with this 9-day, because ooh, sorry, something's in my eye. Because I think that it's really grief that's underneath that low self-worth. I think it's grief. I think it's grief for the ways that we were treated. I think for what we didn't receive, for the years we spent trying to become acceptable, Grieve for the people that made us question our value. And I think as much as we think we heal by saying affirmations, I think we heal by telling the truth. You don't become worthy, you know, we're already worthy. Right? So I will go back into that thought of, instead of trying to convince myself, there's a teaching, a thought pattern that is functioning. There's a programming that is functioning. And so we have to address that thought. And when we address that narrative, we don't have to do much more convincing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense, Kiara? Ooh, that sounds like an old lady. That makes sense, Kiara. Does that make sense, Kiara? Uh-huh. Somebody else said something. You said, how does one calm themselves during reactive abuse? Ooh. So reactive abuse, let me understand, is that's when somebody is repeatedly like provoking you, or like manipulates or pushes you to react. Is that accurate to what that means? Correct. Okay. I, well, I think we got to also know, like, in the moment where we are encountering somebody like that or an experience like that, your body is responding to a threat. So the nervous system is not trying to be wise and diplomatic and strategic. It's trying to protect you. So the goal of the nervous system is not to instantly become calm, right? I think the goal is to create enough space between the trigger and the response so that you can decide what happens next. So I would say, in the moment, don't try to win the interaction. Stop trying to win it. I think that'd be the trap, right? Because we're triggered, we're already activated, right? So your mind starts thinking they need to understand. I need to defend myself. I need to prove that they're wrong. I need them to admit what they did. And those goals usually just increase your activation. So I would say, instead, shift the goal to, I need to remain in control of myself. Right? Get that in your mind instead of trying to win that moment. Okay? I would also say you got to slow your body down. Because when your body is flooded with adrenaline, reasoning does not work well. Right? You got to unclench the jaw. You got to drop the shoulders. You got to put your feet on the floor. You got to take a shower. You got to inhale for 4. Okay? Long exhales typically help signal safety to your nervous system. Yeah. When you're doing that, your body automatically feels like you're gasping for air. You cannot breathe. There's something wrong. So the inhaling for 4, exhaling for 6, or exhaling for 8. Yeah, that helps to calm the nervous system. And then too, a strategy is also you don't have to answer immediately. I think you can buy some time. I need a minute. I'm not discussing this with you right now. I'm gonna respond to this later. Again, that creating the distance is more helpful than you trying to force yourself to a state of calm in the midst of conflict. I say that. And I think because those people tend to be so mentally and emotionally abusive that you can lose clarity of what you're actually feeling and experiencing. So by taking that time away, stepping away, you just, I would say, name what's happening internally. I'm angry. I'm very angry. Or my body thinks that I'm under attack right now. Or I feel cornered, right? You can reduce the intensity, by you getting clear. And then after the breakdown happens, you also got to see what was the trigger, right? So you can identify that. What was the trigger? What did they say? And what did it touch? Did it touch rejection and shame and powerlessness? Did it touch being my trauma of being misunderstood? Did it touch the abandonment issues I have? Was it disrespect? The deeper trigger matters more than whatever their argument was. So I don't think you need to calm yourself down. I think you need to distance yourself and get clear. Mhm. Because what you don't want to happen is you're learning how to calm yourself down just so you can stay in a situation that is dysregulating to you. The solution to the abuser is not to become infinitely calm, right? It is strategizing while we can to change the conditions that keeps producing the activated state that we're in. Woo! Does that make sense, y'all? Hopefully it does, honey. Woo! I appreciate you too. How can you tell the difference between inner conviction and fears or wishful thinking? That's a good question. Yeah, because some people can think just because they feel it strongly that it's true. I see you, Gloria, with your question too. Um, Fear can be strong. Hope can be strong. Desire can be strong. Trauma is also strong. I think it is we gotta understand how to differentiate each of those things. So fear is often centered in a what if. Fear is about the possibility, right? What if they leave? What if I fail? What if I'm wrong? What if something bad happens? And fear will also multiply a scenario because of that. It started creating all these sister cousin thoughts, these branches and loops and constant mental activity. And the more that you question it, fear tends to get louder the more you feed it. I think wishful thinking is centered in I hope, right? Wishful thinking is attached to a preferred outcome. You want something to be true. So now you start collecting evidence for the thing that you desire. But you know it's wishful thinking when you're ignoring all the fucking contradictions, right? And the patterns, and we're ignoring the reality because wishful thinking doesn't ask what's true. Wishful thinking asks, what do I want to be true? You see, when we get to inner conviction, inner conviction says, I know. I know. And it's not loud. Not often. It's often quiet. Often annoyingly quiet, actually. It just sits there. It's a steady, persistent, it just returns again and again. And it doesn't need the evidence. You just know. I think one thing I've noticed is that fear is very urgent. Fear is like, do something now. Now, now, now. Wishful thinking, I feel, just wait a little. It's more seductive, huh? Just wait a little bit longer, and you'll be able to, X, Y, and Z. But I think conviction is patient. Conviction just says, honey, you'll see. And that's a 7 lesson too. Y'all got a 7, you're born in July or on the 7th or the 16th or the 25th. I'll mostly have lessons concerning that. When you examine fear tends to become more complicated because of those branches. Wishful thinking becomes weaker when you start to examine it, because then you start pulling out all the Carfax. But when you examine your conviction, it's clearer. It becomes clearer. I'm sorry, that was a long way to answer your question, but I did the best that I could. Gloria says, do you feel like people are off balance because of how time and numbers are manipulated? That's the 12th month. Oh, that's interesting. Made perfect sense. Okay. Good. Hmm. Perhaps. I don't know about that, Gloria. That's very interesting. That December is the 12th month, but Deca is 10. Deca's 10. Yeah, I get like a decade. Yes, it is 10. Decade is 10. That's interesting. I don't know. I feel two ways about it. I think like we could have something wrong, but because everybody agrees on it, it's fine. Like we have created egregore around December being 12. So like it kind of balances itself out. I think that happens with some things. Like, uh-huh. It's very interesting. Um, like some people who bring about a question of like, I had someone bring about a question about numerology recently. Um, they're like, yeah, you're saying that this is, Afro numerology in your system, and you're doing this, that, and the third, but it's based in Pythagorean numerology, and Pythagorean, you know, is white man, or there's some Western ideology to it. Let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck who made the vaccine. If the vaccine gets rid of the illness, bitch, if the vaccine works. Even if something is of human creation, it doesn't indicate that it is inaccurate or wrong. It doesn't automatically invalidate it. I believe that we need to look at what works. And if it works, it works. Yeah, but what would happen if we align with the correct way of the calendar? But what is the actual correct way, right? It's because it used to be 10 months in a year, but then Julius Caesar, somebody like that, added July and August in the middle after himself. This online, so this also could be wrong. Yeah, could be not. Everything everything is fucking made up anyways. Everything is gonna be wrong or right to somebody. In Ethiopia, it's a whole different year. What year is it in Ethiopia? Wait, hold on. Let me see. Is it Ethiopia? What's that? The Ethiopian calendar. Is it then? It's 2018 in Ethiopia. Yeah. It's 2018. Now, I don't know what to say about that. But if it works out for them, I guess it's working out for them. But I think we also have to be mindful. Oh, Lord. Of how we measure and decide. You come on, Gloria, say, I'm in my 30s there. Let me pack my bags. I know I'm a hot 20. Okay, in Ethiopia. I'm about, what, 21? Yeah, it's, now let me pack my bag. She said, I'm getting up out of here. I'm 30 years old, baby. I'm going to go to Ethiopia, be young again. I don't know. I just think that it brings up a greater conversation to like, oh, wait. Hold on. Look at my calendar, y'all. Wait a minute. What time's my session? I'm sitting here. Okay, good. I got time. I was like, Lord. I think it's a respectability politic too. Like, what do we deem as correct? And do we think something is right just because it's old? That's why I started windmilling in the ATR streets, because just because something is ancient doesn't mean it's right. Just because this is something that your great grandmama and them did, that doesn't mean that that's correct. Just because you want to bring up the Israelites, Jesus, please, anything but them. And you want to say this was 2,000 years ago, that don't mean that it was right. And guess what? It could have been right then. But we are 2,000 years later. We are now. What is correct for now? There's measurements in science that was correct then. But since shit has moved and stuff has happened and evolution has occurred, that is no longer correct. That's no longer accurate. So at this present moment, I think that's the question we need to keep on the top of our tongue. What is this thing asking for now? If you have a religion, shut up, Richie. That is my nephew. Hi, nephew. He's crazy. Talking about you look like my uncle. Listen, if you are practicing a religion from hundreds of years ago that didn't allow women to teach, sweetie, it's 2026. We are evolving. We have evolved from all this misogynistic ass shit. No problem. I know I'm mad about the Spurs losing too, but I have faith that they're gonna win. They're gonna get these. It's gonna be hard for their ass, but they're gonna win. Yes, it is. That is coconut oil. I believe that every practice, every religion, everything you got, I think everything needs to evolve. I don't think you need to be practicing anything the way folks exactly practiced it 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 200, 300. Things have changed. The life has evolved. You have evolved. Do you baptize people? I do not baptize. I'll give you a cleanse, but I don't baptize. I'm not taking you down to the water. You just can't do it. It's just not accurate to life. And that's my belief. And I'm standing on it. Everything evolves. Everything alive evolves. Everything. Richie, please. Okay, so it should evolve. I don't think we need to be, and so that's normally where I butt heads because I'm like, I understand. For example, even the Orisha evolved. Dun dun dun. We have Ogun, who is of the iron. Ogun. A lot of people put Eshu on the train tracks, but Ogun is the one on the railroad because of what actually is the element that is present with the metals and the iron. Now, what about when we stop taking trolleys across the train and now we have cars? What about when the iron wasn't just in a machete, but now that's being made into guns and bullets? Evolution. Everything must evolve. And I think the desire to not evolve is a plea to be dead. So, next. And I don't think the spirit is dead. Okay, got to evolve. Darcel, when I say I'm happy to see you on live, peace and blessings, grace and rhythm, and all of the things that Black folk deserve, may that be bestowed unto you. Okay, so yeah, child, we done had some good conversation today. What's some other questions we want to ask? I got room for maybe 1 or 2 more questions before I have to go to my session. I do enjoy the coconut oil. I enjoy but let me really put y'all on game. Astrology is the cosmos, and numerology decodes the vibrational. I'm a numerologist. I honor astrology. I think those girls are some bad girls that work in astrology, but I'm in the numbers. That's what I prefer. And I think I have bring back to my previous point. What works for you? You know, some people see all these numbers and these calculators. Like, that's what I look like when I look at that astrological chart. I'd be like, now, this is my mid. This is, and then I just call one of my friends and say, help me. And they're excellent at that. I think it is though. I think it is legitimate for sure. But that's what I prefer. And also I prefer, and I want to be clear, I prefer my numerology. I prefer the numbers, because in the numbers we look at things as spirits. We look at these numbers not just as your personality traits. We're deciphering and discerning your ancestral currents. What are the lessons, inherited gifts, and things that have come through your bloodline? We're looking at the essence of the soul and the soul nature before the world has got its hands on you. We're looking at your birth gate. What is the frequency that you pass through to get to this life? And what then were the lessons of your childhood and young adulthood? And how do you enter into the room and enter into spaces? What is the spirit between you and another person? How did y'all meet? What is the essence of y'all's connections? What are the ancestors trying to do through y'all's connection? And what's the purpose of y'all relationship? That's mine. And you have to know your time of birth for accuracy. That is true. From what I understand, yeah. Some people don't know. But most often, you at least can know what year you was born. So we can look at your ancestral current. Most people can know their birthday. Okay, or can at least find it out in some way, shape, or form. So yeah. And then let me also say this. I think that's why it's important for everybody to do the thing that they're good at. Okay? One of the mistakes that I made when I first got out here in these spiritual streets was thinking that I had to do everything and know how to do everything, and you really not going to be able to do everything well. You're just not. Okay, hate to break it to you, sweetie. You're not. You're just not. And everything is not your thing to do. So I'm not up here making videos on the full moon and what is conjunct with this and what is squaring this and what's trining this. That's not my ministry. Could I figure it out? I could. But is that my ministry? No. I don't know nothing about that like that. And that's why I also don't speak on other people's religions. Right. Each spiritual practice is a school. You can't pick up 3 schools at once, or you shouldn't. You shouldn't. For sure. It's a school. You got to spend time. When the numbers was brought to me, that was years ago. And I had to spend time before I start bringing it to y'all. It takes time. And then I will question the intent and the mission of the individual who wants to be all the things. There is a spiritual capitalism that's going on here. You know? Spiritual consumerism. You just consuming it. Just collecting spiritual experiences and titles and identities the way folks collect products and alcohol bottles to put up as decoration in their kitchens and above their refrigerators. I can't tell if you're trying to build a religion or a resume, or perhaps your resume has become the religion. More titles, you in 15 different practices, you got 275 certifications, and that is thus giving you more recognition. Michael, I think the word we can say a credential mysticism. Come on, credential mysticism. Huh? Credential mysticism. Yeah, you believe that your spiritual authority comes primarily from your credentials and your titles and your initiation, your certification, your lineage, your recognition, rather than your demonstrated wisdom and character and embodiment. Honey, the trees start to cry the day that the resume becomes more important than the revelation. Especially when we look at the fact that many traditions, hoodoo, for example, were built by people who had very few credentials. Their authority came from their practice and from their results and their observations. Okay? And their relationships. Not frames on the walls. and different names and prefixes. Okay. Yeah, they had the results. And while they did not have credentials, they had a community to vouch for them. Yes, they did. Boom. They had community, they had results, they had relationships that could speak for what it is that they do. Come on. Credential mysticism, honey. Yes. And I think in a healthy space, a title should in fact increase your accountability. It should mean more scrutiny. It should mean more ethical expectation, more discipline, more service. But you just got the titles, honey, as armor. And prayerfully for you, you want it to be immunity. So you have the title and all this stuff to shield you from questioning. Mm-mm. You studying under so-and-so, you've been doing this for 55 years, you just did da. That does not answer whether or not you are accountable. So you have a hierarchy of authority, but you don't got a culture of accountability. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, y'all, I have to get ready for my session. I love it from a light filled place. If you want to watch the full replay, we done went through a whole bunch of stuff in this hour and 50 minutes. It's on YouTube, Darcel Andre. And of course, if you want to know anything about me, honey, you want to use to get that Afro numerology, that sacred count calculator. If you want to get the vault, where the vault explains all the numbers and includes a personal year calculator as well. All that is available at darcelandre.com. Okay. So grace and rhythm to you all. I will talk to you all later. Be well and do well. That's all that the Spirit asks of you. Okay? Peace, y'all.